Hello, my name is Malcolm Favor. I'm the creator of Dreamer Loop, and today we're out at Cross Campus in Pasadena, a part of the Innovate Pasadena group, where they showcase different presenters every week who have interesting stories to tell. And today we're going to interview a gentleman by the name of Ramsay Brown. Hi, Ramsay. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Malcolm. It's been a great morning. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. I really enjoyed your presentation this morning. Ramsay, could you tell me a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a Southern California native.
Okay.
I'm a creative technologist, a mad scientist, and an escaped circus bear who taught himself how to code. It's one of the beards.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I trained at USC. I got a degree in neuroscience for undergrad and stayed for my victory lap and did my master's in neuroinformatics. And I'm really interested in working on ways that we can build technology that lies at the intersection of brains, minds, and machines that uplifts the human condition and better enables human thriving. So I spent a couple years working on writing computer languages that would help robots and humans do better neuroscience research together faster. I spent a little bit working on brain mapping, and I built out a Google Maps for the brain. And my most recent adventure with Dopamine Labs that I co-founded with Dr. Dalton Combs is working on brain hacking. And we built an API that lets any app become persuasive and hack the user's brains using positive reinforcement.
Wow. So the testing for this API, well, could you briefly explain APIs for viewers who may not know what that is?
Absolutely. So for your viewers who are watching this, they've probably, today at least, gone onto a website or used an app that said, hey, log in with Facebook. So that app said, hey, I don't really want to have to keep track of users myself. I'm going to hand this piece of functionality that I build myself off to someone else to take care of for me, and I'm just going to plug into them. So this app, this website said, yeah, we're not going to take care of users. We're going to let Facebook do that for us, so it's easier. Users know how to do it already, and we don't have to worry about handling that data ourselves. We just make the handshake, let Facebook worry about the identity tracking part, and then people get to use our app. An API is just that. It's a way for a service to exist freely independent on the net that apps or other services can plug into.
Okay.
So Facebook is a authentication login API. Google Maps has map APIs that let any apps kind of plug into their map system. And we built the world's first API for brain hacking. So any app that wants to get people to stick around and use positive reinforcement in this kind of optimal way, instead of them having to cook it themselves or go hire a team of PhD students like we did, they can just use the dopamine API and plug into our system to figure out when to give people that little burst of dopamine, that little up top that is actually what drives behavior change.
So what was the inspiration behind this idea? What made you think this is the API that would benefit humanity?
So 100 years ago, the things that killed people in the developed world were pathogens for which we had no name. These were things that we've later come to know as tuberculosis, typhoid, polio. But there were these parts of our external world that were actively trying to infect us and kill us. Today, in the developed world, and increasingly in the third and emerging world, the things that are killing us are cheeseburgers and ennui. There are habits. It's Instagram and double stuffed burritos. It is all the optional pieces of the world. It is all the behaviors that come from what happens when your society has an abundance of kilowatts, kilobytes, and kilocalories lying around. Is you start developing things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity, debt, chronic anxiety and isolation. These are just things that happen when you've been living in abundance for a little while. So we're starting to see them happen in the emerging world too. So the things that are killing us aren't mysterious diseases anymore, they're habits. They're diseases with huge behavioral components. And I knew that I couldn't build the pedometer that would go out and get everybody to start moving, or I couldn't build the diet app that 1 million people would use and all change their diets overnight. But I knew brains really well from my background in neuroscience. And so I knew if I could build a tool that would let any app take advantage of what science knew about where behavior change comes from, I could just be the wind beneath all of these different technologies' wings and help them better accomplish the behavior change goals they had, so they could go out and make a really big dent in the human condition for everybody.
Okay.
So this was my way to take what I learned about the brain and how to help people and then scale it to the whole planet.
Wow. All right, this brings me back to a question I got confused, a little tripped up with myself. Could you tell me a bit about the beta testing for this API?
Yeah, so of course we have all the tests that we do internally to make sure it's actually working, but we've been fortunate to work with some cool apps over the past few years that have helped us refine the model a little better, make some educated guesses and experiments about how reinforcement works and how to do it better. And every time we've worked with one of these apps, we put a small case study out with them afterwards, we've always seen a positive increase in their behavior. So for your users for your viewers who are watching this, the whole idea here is that if you praise someone every time they do something, they're not going to care. It's going to fade to background noise. They're going to ignore it. It's like the coach who's always excited for everybody all the time. It's like, well, then his excitement doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't feel good. But if you don't do it at all, you've missed some opportunity to encourage and praise people. And the brain's language for, hey, I should do this action more, I should do this thing again, is unexpected reinforcement. It is unexpected praise, unexpected encouragement. So when you're at the gym and you get off the bench and your homie gives you a great high five that you didn't see coming, and you feel awesome about that's the little bro moment you're having, it's not just that it feels emotionally good. Your brain is actively changing to make you more likely to do that set again in the future. This is why coaches and personal trainers, part of why they work so well, because they have a deep intuition for that type of system. But no software system existed to let anyone plug into that, so that's what we built. The tests that we ran and the development that we did let us prove out with these early apps over the past few years, time and time again, that this is actually what the brain is paying attention to. This variable reinforcement works and allowed us to hone and refine our algorithms such that today, when someone goes and uses dopamine, they can see up to a 60% improvement in their user's behavior without having to go write this code themselves or go get a degree in neuroscience or try to crack the code like we did. They just plug it in and it'll work right away.
During your presentation, someone had an interesting question. They asked if this software could possibly replace motivation from human interaction. What do you think?
I think there's an existential risk for something like that to happen. It could be the case that just by the way that the incentives align, there's a pressure to build software that we pay more attention to it than we pay attention to each other. But I don't think that's the way that it's going to go. It is a possibility, but I don't think it's what's going to happen. Like any good piece of technology, this is about enhancing what humans are already good at, not replacing humans. So what we'd want a tool that augments the fact that when you go to the gym with your buddy, you guys are there working out and working really hard, but you're also enjoying each other's company, enjoying the surroundings. There's that social piece that you're never going to get rid of. The software that does well in the next 10 years around behavior change is going to be the software that takes that piece of that social connectivity you guys have and pours fuel on that fire. Helps you do that better instead of trying to overwhelm it or say, no, we don't need that piece. So I think the software that we're going to see stick and the software that you're going to love using that's going to make the biggest change in your behavior is going to be software that's going to make you closer to the people around you. It's not going to dismiss that social component to behavior change. It's going to uplift it. It's going to enhance it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a bit about the positive results you've had with individuals who've used your services?
Yeah, so we sell this to developers who are trying to make their app more habit-forming. So for the developers, this makes them more money, this gets the users to stick around longer, this gets the users to do more of the things inside their app that make the app valuable. So for them, this is a very awesome experience. For the end users of those apps, who might never know that this app installed dopamine, what they just feel is a little bit of surprise and delight in their daily life. For doing the stuff that they wanted to do to be a better version of themselves. So we had the delight to work with a pedometer called Movin, M-O-V-N, like I'm moving around, I'm getting moving, that helps people recover after cardiovascular surgery. So there's people who previously had heart disease, they don't really feel like moving that much, they tend to be a little bit older of a population, and they've just undergone a big surgery, so they're in recovery mode. And by introducing that little bit of surprise and delight into their day, when they went for little walks, 5-10 minutes at a time, congratulating them and saying, hey, that was awesome, keep up with it. You're going to be okay, you can do this. just even tweaking when and how we deliver those little bits of positive praise. We saw those population walk 60% longer, 60% more than did a control population that didn't get any reinforcement. So just tweaking when and how you give people that little hey, good job makes a huge difference in their health and in their quality of living.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like great stuff.
Thanks, Dave.
So, what are your plans for the future? How do you guys plan to grow?
So
progress?
we've been really fortunate to find some really talented people to work with, helping us build out the technology. We're looking forward to getting it out into thousands of apps that people have on their phones, impacting their daily lives. And I think in the next 10 years, what we want to be is the layer of the net that's about human behavior. So in the same way that, for every app developer out there right now who's assembling his or her strategy for putting an app out there. So, okay, well, I'm going to use Amazon Web Services for my back end, and I'm going to use for my servers, and I'll use Python for my back end, and I'll write the whole thing in Swift, and I'll use this CocoaPod framework. They start assembling this stack of different pieces of technology they're going to use to build something. And we want to be that layer in the middle that says, okay, then I'm going to use the domain API for behavior change. We want to be a tool that's a go-to for developers. If anyone wants to build an app that changes how people live, changes how people are experiencing their daily lives and becoming the kind of people they want to be, we want to be what fuels that. So I think a decade from now, we'd love to see ourselves out there able to make a difference in hundreds of millions of people's lives every day, helping them become the kind of people they want to be, and making them feel dope for doing it.
Dope, I mean.
That's it.
Interesting. All right, I thank you for taking the time to come out and speak with us. Thank you for coming out to Innovate Pasadena. Dreamerly obviously thanks you, and Ardred Sound thanks you for coming out. Just thanks and praise all around.
Cool. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.